There you are.
Hey, man.
All
Technical
right.
difficulties over here. We're good, though.
Oh, okay. Great.
Yeah, we're
How are
good.
you?
I'm good, man. How about yourself?
Good. Good to see you. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I love that SG.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
You got your telly there, huh?
I do. I told you I also was gonna have a Gibson. I changed my mind. I went with the Telly, went with the Fender. Um, but my Gibson's an acoustic anyway, so it's kind of a different flavor.
That's
But
all right.
yeah, man. I am. This is a super cool guitar, actually. This was a gift from a friend
Really.
about a year ago. And I love it, man. I love something about Fender necks. My Strat, I love the neck. I love the neck on this guy. It's just really comfortable to play.
Is that like just a reissue or is it?
I think, yeah, I think it's the Mexican version.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah, it's yeah. So it's not the Mac Daddy, but he did have it set up really nicely, and he tweaked it a little bit, but yeah, my only American guitars, I've got a Fender Acoustasonic, the one of the Strat style. Right when they came out, I
Right.
got spoiled by my wife. That was a gift for my 25th birthday, and then I've got that Gibson acoustic I play that is an LG2 American Eagle that I bought from a friend at my church, and I didn't need another guitar, but it was one of those situations where he told me what he'd sell it to me for, and I realized I was going to have to take that guitar off his hands. They got a way of growing on you. You can see I got a couple hiding back there, maybe. Also got a little buddy hanging out with me. If you're wondering what my right hand's doing, I'm not just floating into space. We've
Oh,
got a guest on the stream. He's being a little needy right now, but
oh,
yeah, man.
that's all right. I got one here and I got the
Yeah,
other one rolling around over here.
right.
I get it.
Yeah. That's right.
All right. Well, welcome Trey Duncan to the Larry Soulcactus Live Stream Conversations about gigs and guitars or guitars and gigs, all things music, whatever have you. Welcome, my
Delighted to be
friend.
here. Thank you, sir.
You're more than welcome to be here. Thank you for coming. So I first have to ask you, um, I'm curious of like how you got into music
Hmm.
and how old you were. Like what are your
And
first like, like for me it was like I was 10 years old and I listened to the Who every day that
yeah,
year when I was 10 years old and I drove my brother absolutely crazy.
right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
He's just like, there are other bands. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah. But do you hear what's playing right now? Do you hear that?
Exactly.
Yeah, man. I'm really fortunate. I come from a super musical family. And as far as getting started, there's definitely different periods I could point to, but my dad was a guitarist, self-taught, was into rock and roll and hair metal and all that kind of stuff, and the bug bit him and he taught himself. And then when I was a little kid, I was like, hey, can you teach me how to play guitar? And there's pictures of me literally in diapers, like leaning over on my dad's combo amp while he's playing guitar, like just bobbing my head while he's jamming. And then on the other side, my mother was a singer. And she loved country music and grew up with Patsy Cline and Loretta Lynn and Johnny Cash and all that stuff. So I got
That's funny.
country from my mom and rock and roll from my dad. But as far as like playing guitar, I was in the third grade when I asked him, I'm pretty sure. So that's like nine-ish, maybe 9, 10,
Yeah.
somewhere there.
Yeah.
Um, Yep. And then my dad got me a little, I think it was a 7/8 scale, but it was a Washburn electric guitar, purple electric guitar, double cutaway, that I just thought was the coolest thing in the world and fit pretty comfortably on my little third grade hands. And I played that and learned, and also grew up in church and would play at church. And that was probably the first time I played guitar in public, was
How,
doing a special song at church. But
how,
probably 10 or 11, maybe just like a year or some change, somewhere in there, right when I was getting
wow.
going. Uh,
You got going early on.
I did. Well, man, I was singing even before that. When I was a little kid, like 4 or 5, or maybe more like 6, 7. That sounds too early. 6, 7. Um, there was this like city festival that I got to sing. I guess it was a 4th of July something, but I sang Lee Greenwood, "God Bless the USA," and I'm like, this tall. And there's pictures of that too. And then just singing in church, which is public. It's a different kind of performance, but definitely cut my teeth on being in front of people early. Which, the funny thing about that is, I'm a super shy, introverted person, and back then, really up until maybe senior year of high school, where I started to loosen up. Like, I could not stand to have a conversation with a stranger, or to uh, like, just get over that introversion. I was so freaked out about it. I couldn't even order my own pizza. I used to like tell my mom I was freaked out to talk to the person on the other end of the line. But when I got on stage, it was fine. I was like, I'm in control now. People were looking at me. They expect me to do this. Let me sing and play music, and it's all going to be cool. But uh, definitely had that personal stage fright in my life, so to speak. That's I guess from doing music so young, maybe I already got over some of those nerves. And that did not impact me when I was old enough that people actually wanted to hear me play music.
Right. Now, do you, like, currently speaking, do you have a problem, like, speaking to someone and looking them in the eye while talking to them because of your introvertedness?
I wouldn't say no, not right now. I don't think, um, or at least I know how to work my way around it. So,
Or is,
I've been gigging professionally since 2019. Just the bar circuit, that kind of thing, and have learned to overcome that disposition to where, all right, this is part of my job now. I'm meeting people. I got to talk with people. I got to be cool. So I
yes,
can't
you have
I
to be
can't be
cordial.
yeah, I can't be skittish, and I've never been impolite, but I did learn from some folks later on. Some people thought I was kind of stuck up in high school because I just kept to myself, and it was really that I was just that shy. I wasn't intentionally trying to give people the cold shoulder, but no, I've had to work on it and learn how to get around that. That can be my temperament, but that doesn't mean I have to behave a certain way.
That's cool. With me, they just said I was a dick, and they probably
Okay.
still say I'm a dick, so it's fine. Old habits die hard.
Right.
But like, I think probably you all right? You all right?
Sorry, went down the wrong pipe. Excuse me.
Okay. I think ultimately it probably sounds like it's probably a comfort level with you with the other person.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
like when it's I think it's very difficult. Like, yes, there's a certain comfort level when you're on stage, but then when you get off stage and you're like, I really would like to retreat now and go back into my Fortress of Solitude. Well, guess what, dude? You can't do that. You
Yeah,
gotta
yeah,
meet and greet. You gotta
definitely.
shake some hands and kiss some babies. It's
Right.
time.
Yeah, yeah.
Get your Sharpie out.
Yeah. Yeah, but always very grateful for that opportunity. That if the and that's the thing too. Like, post show, if somebody wants to come up and talk to me like that, that's so humbling. Like, that what I did impacted you in such a way that you want to learn more, want to speak with me. It's just something about that dynamic of when I'm on that stage, I'm in control. I get that's how I internalize it. Whereas if I'm just a random person in a room full of strangers, like trying to mingle or something, I don't know what's expected. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I don't know, do I talk now? Do I wait? Yeah, whatever. And then I'm just kind of awkward. But
Right.
even that stuff doesn't bug me as much as it used to. I mean, of course, in high school and college, everybody's kind of awkward, and it's maybe accentuated. But No, it's not too bad now.
I think it's something that you sort of just work through when you start living this life. Like after you get done with college, or if you don't go to college and you just decide I'm going to go after it, and you
Yeah.
start playing your scene. I take it now you're playing the scene that you grew up in, yeah? Or
Kind
am I
kind of
not a
sort of. I would say it is the scene where I it's my formative scene. So what
okay?
I mean by that is I grew up a little bit closer to the Midlands of the state. And now I'm in the upstate, but that same area where I started gigging professionally. When I grew up, that gigging was usually church stuff, playing either playing at church or playing in events that were church adjacent events, and it was praise music. It wasn't like, here, I'm gonna go play some rock and roll. Unless it was like a talent show. So I did little stuff like that. But as far as, hey, you're the guy, they're coming to see you, or you are the primary background music or primary source of entertainment, that didn't start until I graduated school and I stuck around. But even still, like when I was at school, I was doing ensembles like choir stuff mostly, or FCA again, that kind of church music. But hey, I'm in a bar doing pop music.
Right?
Pop encompassing blues, country, rock, whatever. Not
Right.
not like Britney Spears pop, but popular styles. That was in 2019, and I'm still in that area, but I have expanded to playing more regionally than just in my city.
So okay, so but we're talking about South Carolina here, right?
Yeah, yeah, South Carolina, and because I'm in the upstate, I am. I also play in Western North Carolina a lot. So
Okay, I just
upstate South Carolina, Western North Carolina, and then I get down to Georgia sometimes, more North Georgia. Sometimes get as far west as I played Mississippi a couple times. Um, played in Alabama a little bit, but that's not as often. I gotta justify being out that way before I kind of book that gig. But if I find myself over there, I'll try to pop in and play something.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
man.
So you went from it sounds like you went from where you were living with mom and dad and cutting your
Yeah,
teeth there and then going off to school and then sort of staying there and working that scene.
yeah, 100%.
How long did it take you to work that scene until like you started getting some gigs? That's what I like. Tell me the time lapse.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so let's see. I graduated school in 2018, and then used my degree to get a job that didn't work out so well. The goal was make some money to support my music, and
Right.
instead I did not find myself having very much energy and desire to do anything outside of that job. And so towards the end of my time there, uh, I I did a trying to think how you'd say it. Like a songwriting shootout, so sort of like a talent competition, battle of the bands kind of thing, but it was
Oh,
for
okay.
singer songwriters um, in Greenville, and ended up winning that competition in the fall of 2018. And that was my first time really doing that kind of thing. Which that
Congratulations.
thank you, and even the model of that show. It was at a really cool spot in Greenville called Smiley's Acoustic Cafe. They've kind of moved to a different part of town now, but we're really well known in that particular location. And they based the model of their songwriting competition off of what they do at Eddie's Attic in Atlanta, which is a famous and awesome venue and really cool listening room. And so I won that. And as part of that, like, woo, I won the competition, but then you also win a gig. Um, and
Nice.
so I remember the moment the owner came up to me and he was like, okay, here's your prize money. You won. Let's look at your schedule. He said, can you play for 3 hours? And I just remember thinking, like, how do you play for 3 hours? Like, I just like that, my set during the competition was like 3 songs, right?
I
And I was like,
figured. I
I'm like,
figured.
like, how am I supposed to play for 3 hours? So what ended up happening is I said, yeah, of course. I didn't tell him that. I was like, of course, yeah, I can play. Sure, sure. But we chose a date
I love it.
like 2 months out. Uh, and so I ended up leaving that job I had and basically lived off my savings from my job for like a month. Um, and just learned 40 songs that I could play by myself, solo acoustic. And because I didn't know that what most people do is not play 3 hours of completely different music when you're starting out. Like lots of times you'll have an A set and a B set. And then by that third hour, it's almost none of the same people. So you just kind of recycle some of your stuff from the A set. Um, and I was like, oh no, I got to learn, 44 new songs. I remember it's 44 songs I can play by myself, solo acoustic, and do a good job. And uh, they were not all my best work, but we did get through the gig. And after that show, so that would have been January 2019. I was like, okay, well, I guess this is what I do now. I need to book some shows. And a friend of mine from school, her father owned a venue that
Oh,
was near me, and I was like, let me reach out and see if he's looking for music. And uh, he was like, yeah, I guess you can play. My daughter says you're pretty good. And then that was
great.
February. That was February. So it was very much I got very fortunate that I could lean on somebody like that and have those connections. But
Was it a
yeah,
nice place?
it's a cool spot. It's a little pub, um,
Right on.
and just a very chill, forgiving environment. Very very relaxed. Went in and played solo. They were like, "Oh, this is great," and then really that turned into I played there basically once a month for the next 4 years
That-
until they ended up that owner ended up selling it to somebody else. But really that initial run of that establishment was sort of my home base for the longest time. I didn't go longer than like 6 weeks without playing there over that stretch from 2019 to 2023. It was really cool. And lots of my folks liked coming to see me there because it wasn't that big raucous bar where you're going to leave with your ears ringing. Come in, have a craft beer, have a glass of wine, play a board game, and listen to some music. And it was a really really cool vibe, really cool people. Really cool
Sweet.
people.
That's cool.
And then right after that, so that's solo. And then at like March 2019, I got connected with what would be my first band, my only band technically at this point, but a bunch of other guys. That's kind of its own other story. But I was in a hard rock band called King's Ransom, and then we were together from March 2019 to like December 2021, so almost 3 years. And that was my first foray into, oh, we're actually going to record music now, and we're going to release original music. I'd been a songwriter my whole life, but just whatever I happened to write, singer songwriter kind of stuff. But then, oh, let me write with some other folks. These guys can absolutely rip. So let me write some top lines to their guitar riffs, and let's do this as a band. And I did the band thing for a minute, and yeah, that pub very different than some of the places where the full band played, but we had a lot of fun. And so that was sort of the formative, like, okay, I did the solo thing just for a touch. Now I'm in a band. And then that first year and a half was learning, how do we book our own shows? What is the band dynamic? What is the solo dynamic? And usually it was playing really cool, like multi-band bills of original music with the band. And then I would supplement with, let me go play in this coffee house. Let me go play in this bar, this restaurant for 3 hours doing covers, and that can help pay the bills while the band thing is sort of more focused on the artistry and what you think of as an independent artist.
Right. So the question I have for you is, what did you ultimately like better, or what do you ultimately like better? I think I know the answer,
Yeah.
but
I don't know. Well, I'll tell you this, and it maybe sounds sort of lukewarm, but it's true. I like both for different things, and I really love entertaining and connecting with people. And I think what the 3 4 hour cover gigs in bars and restaurants are really cool about is, at this point, I've got a pretty good idea of what I do well and what seems to resonate with crowds in my region, right? And I love playing a song that I know my audience is going to love and doing it really well, or doing it in a way that, um, maybe not a totally different style, but I put my own stamp on it and they love that. And they get really excited because, the world's kind of a mess right now. And I think music is one of those things that just brings people together. And when you hear, it's the power of a song. When you hear a song that you love
Right.
It takes you back and it says like, oh man, this person must love this song too. Like I immediately feel connected. And that's really cool. And you can't do that from a first listen playing something original. Hopefully when you share something original, people have a different experience of, whoa, I really like that. What is that? But you know,
Exactly.
but it's different than, oh my gosh, I love that
That
song.
song.
And this
Right.
person is doing my jam. And like, so you know, I've got some things like you play in a bar, you play Sweet Home Alabama, you know, you play uh oh man,
Free
I do
bird!
yeah,
Free bird!
exactly.
Free
I do, you know,
bird!
I'll do like Don't Stop Believing. You know, like you do that
There you
stuff and you're like, whoa, this is sick, you know? And I love doing that. But I also love, you know, some of those deeper cuts from some of my favorite artists where you sort of get that wink wink, you know, like nudge nudge to you'll see like one head in the crowd pop up like, wait a minute, he's doing like
Yeah,
um
he's doing that. He's doing the core by Clapton. Nobody does
yeah,
that.
yeah. Like Stevie Ray Vaughan's like my personal guitar hero. I love Stevie, and so I like to play a song of his called "Life by the Drop." It's a little bit. I mean, it's still on the Greatest Hits album, right? But it's not Pride and Joy. It's not Texas Foot. Like it's
No,
not
it's off the
maybe.
sky is crying.
Yeah, yeah. It's not what you expect of Stevie. You know, it's a 12-string acoustic song, but I love it, and it's a cool song. Um, but I've
Who
had
is it?
people come up to
Who
me.
is
They're
it
like,
co-written by? Who is it co-written by?
oh man, I know. Well, is his buddy like wrote it and Stevie cut it, right? Like it
Yep,
was sort of writing about Stevie. Like, dude, we knew that you're going to be bigger than this. I mean, that I can't think of his name.
they
I
did it. They did it together.
they did it together. Okay.
It's Doyle Bramhall two's
Yes, yes, yes,
dad,
yes.
Doyle Bramhall Senior.
Yeah, man, I read actually speaking of Texas Flood, the book is called Texas Flood, but it was a biography of Stevie a couple of summers ago that's told through interviews with all his peers and oh man, just loved it. But yes, I did know that because obviously that plays a part in the book. But anyway, something like that. You play Life by the Drop. You know, lots of people are going to know Pride and Joy, and I love playing that too. When you play Life by the Drop, you see like one person like, okay, I see a person, you know, you didn't learn Pride and Joy because somebody told you to. You learned that because you love Stevie. You're playing Life by the Drop because you love Stevie. Or another one I've had that experience with is back in the day I used to play it a bunch. I don't so much anymore, but Don't Treat Me Bad by Firehouse, right? Which is sort of like yeah, I don't think maybe the first 10 songs you think of from that era, but I've played it because I always thought it was a catchy, cool song, and that you know lots of people maybe wouldn't know it that are a younger persuasion, we'll say, but you know some people they're like, yo, I remember listening to that song in high school, and that's really cool, and I love doing that too. But I love the
So
original stuff. But I love writing my stuff too. The other thing, I guess, is sometimes I'm a little self conscious about my own tunes. You know, like I know I can do "Don't Stop Believing," and people are going to be like, "Yeah," like they're locked in with me.
right,
Um, but you know, there's a little bit of that when I do a song that I wrote. It's like I hope you have some of that experience, but you know, I'm very critical myself, and I also know the power of those songs that, you know, in that moment, I'm sort of weighing like, would I put any of my songs up against Don't Stop Believing? I don't know. But also, who would? I mean, it's a masterpiece, right? And we have the whole collective of music to choose from when we're playing covers. And when you do your original stuff, you've only got what you have written thus far. So it's some of that is in play, but it's very humbling and super cool when you do share a song that you wrote or co-wrote and people have a really powerful experience too. And I'm grateful to have had some of those opportunities as well, where people will come up afterwards and say that song really meant something to me, or I really connected with what you were sharing.
right, right, absolutely. And I do agree with you. I think that playing covers has a certain effect on people, and playing your original stuff has a certain effect on people.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it's just like, I think with my own original stuff is like people want to hear me rock, and
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
hear, and that's fine, and they want to hear the Soul Cactus riff and that and my version of like funky rock and roll, and that's great, and I love that.
Yeah.
And I like it when I play a cover that they like, and they like the way that I play that. Just like when you're out at the bar doing "Don't Stop Believing," or I've heard
Yeah.
you do, dude. I've heard you do "9 to 5" by Dolly.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I love so to your point about, your own original music versus covers, like that's kind of fun too. And I do incorporate my original stuff into these sets too. It's just
Right.
like not necessarily a here's the original feature kind of set. But I love so much music and I love sharing that music. And one of my favorite things when I try to build out sequences in a set is I want to give an audience genre whiplash a little bit. And so that Dolly Parton 9 to 5 you've heard, I almost always will do some version of I usually start with Proud Mary, Tina Turner, or
Uh-huh.
it's really more Creedence Clearwater Revival is kind of how I play it.
Okay.
But CCR into immediately into Sweet Home Alabama, right? Because they're both in D, immediately into 9 to 5. And so, depending on who you are as a listener, you're like, he just did Tina Turner, Leonard Skinner, Dolly Parton, or he just did CCR, Leonard Skinner, Dolly Parton. And sometimes I go from there and chain some more songs together. But I love when I can do stuff that you would not expect me to do. I like doing songs composed by and performed by women. Because show some love to the ladies. They're awesome. But also I'm a tenor, my voice is higher and I like singing that kind of stuff. And you're just not used to hearing that kind of thing. I've done Jolene by Dolly Parton, usually, by request usually, but that's so fun and not what you would expect me to do. Just looking at me.
Not at all.
And
I,
so
I
I
I
really like
look at
that.
you and I'm like, do a Chris Stapleton song.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Chris Stapleton or Luke Combs or
That's like somebody staring at me and going, "Hey, play Layla."
yeah, 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 exactly. Which I still love that stuff too, and I will do that for you 100%. But uh yeah, no, I like keeping people on their toes, or let's throw a Disney song in there just because we can, or I see some kids in the audience and we'll do something. I want to make sure they know. I have played some K-pop Demon Hunters the last couple of gigs.
Oh my God! Somebody
I've
asked me to play that like last
stumbled
week or
through.
the week before. I was like, dude, I don't even want to unpack that.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Larry. I love K-pop Demon
Do
Hunters.
you?
That movie is fantastic.
I'm gonna
That
have to check it out. That's
that
the one on
music is
Netflix.
yeah, it is. That music is fantastic. It's
K-pop
one of
Demon Hunter, right?
I swear, yeah, yeah. It's one of those
Oh,
things that like the name seems so off-putting if you're not into that stuff. I do like anime, so I'm already like I'm open to that kind of stuff. But I understand if you're like a grandpa that your kid's telling you, "Hey, we watch K-pop Demon Hunters?" You're probably like, "Oh, you don't even know what any of those words mean in that order." But no, it's great. It's the same studio that did Into the Spider-Verse. If you liked those
oh
movies,
yeah, I
and
did. I
so
loved it.
me too. So I love animation. So
Okay,
the movie looks beautiful and it's such a passion project. They took I think like a decade to write it and work on it. And you can tell there's
really?
such sensitivity for Korean culture and history in conjunction with the music. This was not some exec being like, hey, we need a movie about K-pop. Okay, let's just like, go to Chat GPT and make
Slap some
something.
popsicle sticks together and put it out. It
Exactly. It's
wasn't
not
like
that
that
at
at
all.
all.
No, and the thing is, like, it is really emotionally compelling, and
Wow.
it has a great moral. I don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, there's stretches of that movie where I was straight up in tears, and like
I'll have to watch
po-
it now.
powerful, dude. I love it. I'll talk about it all day. I'm such a fan. Yeah, I'm so excited to see what else they do with it because I think those artists, the real singers behind the
It's-
singing voices in the movie are finally getting their flowers after being in that industry for a while, and they deserve it. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, that's cool. That's
Yeah, man.
cool. Wow. I'll have to check it out now.
Don't sleep on it. I know it sounds crazy, but it's great.
Well, now I won't. Now that you
Yeah,
said it
yeah.
was by the people that did the Into the Spider Verse, I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah,
I
for
wasn't
sure.
told that information before.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Something about Sony licensed it to Netflix, or some kind of deal. But it was a Sony animation project that Netflix now is making a bajillion dollars off of.
For sure. For sure. Did you watch Stranger Things season 5 yet? The first.
I have not yet. I
Oh
am
my
I'm
god, so
waiting.
good, dude.
I'm
So good.
waiting. I got a buddy that we want to try to watch it together because we watched season 1 together when it first came out. So we think it'd be cool to try to catch season 5 together too. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. So is SRV your biggest influence of all time? As far as like, is that the
I,
top of the heap for you?
I synthesize a lot of things. I mean, consciously or otherwise, but I have absorbed lots of stuff because I've listened to a bunch of stuff. But when you ask me, who can I cut on and will stop and listen to? Yeah, he for me, he's the top. Like I love Stevie Ray Vaughan's playing. It's so angry, and you just feel it. I love his tone. I love the way he plays. Um, and he's just it's blues. It's not that. Well, I don't want to say like I don't think that there is any particular style that's inherently greater or more impressive than others. There are styles that require much more education and work to get into, right? So like it would be easy to disparage it as oh, he's just a blues player, but he's not. You know what I mean? But I do think there is some valid criticism where sometimes people think um, it's maybe I'll say it's not hard to play the blues. It is hard to play the blues well because you really have to focus on your phrasing and the way it's almost like you like channel through your instrument, right? That's what the best blues does. It really is a connection just to soul. And the best players can do that in different styles too, but you feel it, at least for me. It
Oh,
really always
there's
really resonated with me, but I mean I love lots of players. I think you know I love really soulful singers too, and when I think of guitar playing, I'm kind of drawn to that sort of style as well. So um yeah, back to Journey. Like I love Steve Perry. I also love Neil Schon is doing his thing, and like it's just that's a really thick bluesy soulful sound that he gets, and really intricate phrasing too. I love his stuff. Prince is a big influence. I love Prince as a songwriter. Prince also has some of that angry playing, kind of like Stevie, that you're like, he is just his guitar is channeling what he feels right here.
yeah.
Um, and he can be really slept on as a guitarist.
I don't sleep on him as a guitarist at all.
Oh,
Listen to Let's Go Crazy. I mean,
yeah,
like,
yeah,
when Rolling Stone magazine asked Eric Clapton about him being the best guitar player, he's just like, I don't know. You should ask Prince.
yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
guarantee you that he listened to Purple Rain and was just like, this guy's the bomb.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
listen
yeah,
to that. This is like Hendrix's second coming, man.
yeah,
I always thought my analyzation of Prince was this dude is Jimi Hendrix, James Brown, and Sly and the Family Stone all wrapped up into one motherfucker. Excuse me.
yeah, yeah,
And he is
yeah,
super bad. He is
yeah.
super bad.
Oh, and just has the crowd eat out of the palm of his hand. I love that too as a performer entertainer. Like there's clips of him playing solo acoustic on a stage, and it's literally just everybody is just locked right into what he's doing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody in the chat's asking about Randy Rhoads. 100%. Yeah, Randy's killer too. I love that style of rock and roll too. Def Leppard. So Phil Collin. You're one of my favorite guitarists, but all the stuff that Mutt Lang did. Like I don't know. Some people feel like hair metal is a disparaging term. It's not to me. I just think it's sort of that vibe. But yeah, I mean, Crazy Train, right? I
Right.
haven't really done a deep dive on Randy, but I know how influential he was and how many people were inspired by his playing. And yeah, he sort of got the Eddie Van Halen thing too. Of you listen to him play, and he's just an entity unto himself, and has such a voice. It's what's really great about people like Randy, and then what Eddie did was it's so virtuosic, but also still really melodic and powerful, and it doesn't sound like you know it's going to sound like a cliche thing to say, but it's not just throwing a million notes at the neck and seeing what sticks. Like they have that speed, but they can use it to make a point. It's not just here's flash for the sake of flash. Maybe there's some of that, but it's you know, it's intense. That's where that speed comes from, because I need this moment to really like get my point across, not because look how cool I am and what I can do.
Well, I think Randy was very methodic and calculating, personally speaking,
Yeah.
because of his music education background
Hmm.
from his mom, and having that upbringing and whatever, you know, just made him so much more than I think EVH was. I'm not taking
Really?
anything
Okay.
away from EVH, but
Yeah.
I'm saying, to me, the greatest modern rock guitar player of all time
Yeah.
for me is Randy Rhoads.
Really.
I just
Okay.
said in my stream earlier, if this was the crossroads and you were cutting heads and you had Randy Rhoads go up against Jimi Hendrix,
Yeah.
he makes Jimi Hendrix run home and cry like a bitch.
See, I think those kinds of conversations are so hard to have because they're so different. And how can
They
you,
are.
how can you grade on the curve like where they're at in time, and how all art is informed by previous art. And they're like, again, doing a blues really well is very different than doing neoclassical really well, or doing even just straight up rock and roll really well. And how do you judge how good somebody is at their specific style, to somebody else that's really good at their specific style?
Okay,
um
let me edit it for you. Let's
okay.
let's do Jimi Hendrix versus Stevie Ray Vaughan, and let's do Randy Rhoads versus Eddie Van Halen.
I
Who
watch.
comes out in top? Who comes out in those two matches? Who comes out on top?
Well, Stevie would tell you it's Jimmy, right? Because
No,
he's just that humble kind of guy. You don't think so?
Stevie technically was a better player than Jimi Hendrix would ever be.
What came, but came later, and but he was so influenced by him.
I know
So
that. I know that. I'm just saying.
so how do you? Yeah,
I think for if you compare their life cycles and their musical input, I
sure.
think Stevie was technically more proficient than Jimi Hendrix.
I think that's probably objectively true. But then where do you weigh innovation on that, right? Because you could say that Jimmy was sort of
Hendrix,
what
Hendrix, from a
yeah.
songwriting point of view, Hendrix fucking smoked Stevie into the
Yeah,
ground,
yeah,
dude.
I know. I mean, think of how iconic his compositions are, and what he pulled out of thin air. And so, with these kinds of conversations, I think back to, because I studied classical music at school too, and one of the things we talked about in the, I think it was the Baroque period, but talking about like Bach versus Handel, right? Let's say that you had people that were really innovative, i.e., Bach, right? He is sort of creating this style, and who lots of people think is literally the greatest musician to ever live.
Right.
Because of his command over harmony and the way different voices and parts interact with each other, to somebody like Handel, who why we remember Handel is because of the way that he took something that already existed and maybe took it to, at least at times, was its absolute highest level. You have innovators and synthesizers, or so maybe Jimmy is creating this style, but maybe Stevie is playing it at the peak of what it could be. I'm not making that claim, but just for example, so I
No,
think
I think that's right.
some people might say the same thing, like with Joe Bonamassa, like that. What is he bringing to the table? Like, well, he's definitely got a voice if you listen to him, but what he does
He
is so
does.
technically proficient, and that's sort of. And well, even Stevie, right? Most of his sound were like Freddie King licks, and so not just pulling from Jimmy, but pulling from Freddie King. Like, he's taking this thing that's already existed and really perfecting certain elements of it.
Do you mean, do you mean Albert King?
Uh,
Just out
uh,
of
I think both, right? But I want to think I've that it's
more Albert King
more
than
Albert
anything.
than.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But yes,
But but
both.
but still, we're taking things that are already out there, and we're trying to push it to the limit instead of trying to create new stuff. And there's value in both. And so again, how do you say that one is better than the other? I don't know.
Well, it's all look. It's all subjective. That's the fun in discussing this stuff, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I see we got somebody in the chat too. Somebody said Roy Clark. Absolutely, Roy Clark rips. I can tell you
Oh,
about
Roy
Roy.
Clark was amazing, dude.
Well, hey, so I bet you don't know this. Let me hit you with some fun facts. Do you know my really my family, not my personal connection, but my connection to Roy Clark
Is what?
is what? So did did did, did
You expected me to know it?
no, I was gonna see. Yeah. Do you remember the show Hee Haw?
Of course.
You ever watch it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Junior Samples on Hee Haw, and we know Roy Clark from Hee Haw, but you know Junior Samples from Hee Haw?
I don't.
This okay, he's one of the actors. His big thing was like BR549. It was like a used car salesman, sort of something. That was one of his skits. But him
Oh,
and
okay.
him and Roy were like thick as thieves, really good friends. But Junior was one of the staple cast members on there, and that's my grandfather's brother. So
Oh,
grow
wow.
yeah, yeah. So growing up, like I'm the only person that we were like literally in third grade. Me and my sister were doing hee haw skits, and everybody else thinks we're psychopaths. They were like, "What are you doing?" But yeah, my family, we had like the DVDs and everything because that was
Wow.
our family that was on that show. So, oh yeah, known about Roy for a while. That
That's
dude's a
so
beast.
great.
Yeah, could play everything. Yeah, no, love Roy
Now,
stuff too. And
did your dad ever get to go to the set or anything like that?
no, so it's my mom's. Sorry, my mom's side of the family
Oh,
is
your
is
mom's
he is
shot.
he home. Yep, yep. So no, because he was. I mean, she knew Junior, but like he was older than my grandfather. His older brother, and I think was maybe done with Hee Haw. When she would have been old enough to do anything like that. But I do know the family talks about like George Jones sending flowers to his funeral and stuff like
Wow.
things like that. Because what Hee Haw did with country music and how influential that was. So that's pretty cool to think about being connected to that piece of pop music history. Um, but yeah,
That's too cool, man.
yeah, yeah,
It's
it's fun. That's gonna hopefully that'll be on my IMDb trivia page one day or something.
sure. Why not?
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I mean, who has, dude? I don't know too many people walking around with like a personal connection, like they had a relative on such and such show,
I
like
bet more than you
like Hee
think
Haw.
though.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Well, you just like who knows about it, or who talks about it, but only because I also am in a public facing position with being an artist and putting my music out there and performing that I can talk about something like that. But if you're just if you work in a cubicle or something and you sell insurance, like it doesn't matter that your great grandfather's brother, sister's cousin was I don't know, like the water boy for Patrick Swayze on a movie or something like right, like those timelines don't make sense. But um anyways, you know what I'm saying. There's more connection out there than we think. It's a small world after all.
it is. It's really unbelievable. I actually there was a kid that came on the program. I think he popped on for the first time over the weekend,
Yeah.
and he was just like going on about Mika and the Souls, this band that I've never heard of that's from
Yeah, I'm not
Scottsdale,
familiar.
Arizona,
Oh, cool.
and he's just like, my favorite drummer plays in that band, Randy Walker, and I'm
Okay.
like, Randy Walker plays in that band. And
Yeah.
he's just like, yeah. I'm like, Randy Walker from the Phoenix metro area. He's just like, yeah, the LA studio musician. I'm like, shut the front door. I'm like, dude, I've played with your favorite drummer.
That's great.
I'm like, he's on my CD. I hired him.
Yeah,
And I've played gigs with him, dude. This
that's
kid
really
started
funny.
like freaking out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it was just like, so I look up, a guy that I hired 20 something years ago or whatever. He's on Insta, and
yeah,
he's got like, over 2K worth of followers and whatever. And I guess he's played with Chicago and
yeah, man.
done some other stuff since I've played with him. But
Yeah.
that's cool. So I
I
just
love
like,
that.
wow, what a world. What a small world.
Oh yeah. Oh, I got a small world story for you. I was playing a birthday party 2 or 3 years ago. And I don't know anything other than a friend of a friend was asked to play the gig. They couldn't play, so they recommended me. I was free. Cool. Would love to play for you. I show up, and it's a surprise birthday party for this woman's father, who I think it was his 60th birthday.
Cool.
But he she said, "Hey, some friends of the family are musicians. Would you care if they just got up and jammed with you?" And I was like, "I'm totally cool with that." I come from a tradition of people that, again, my mother's people, those hee haw kind of people. Like, you just sit on the front porch and pick, right? So I'm all about it. Because I feel like you have to have a certain level of confidence to even ask to sit in. That, like, you're probably not totally like helpless, right? If you're gonna come up to me and say, like, "Hey, do you care if I sit in?" I was like, "Yeah, you can." I'm sure you got enough chops to sit in, and I love doing that. It's happened at a couple of gigs. People just like bring up a cajon or something. I'm like, "Yeah, dude, I'm playing solo. Like, give me a beat." Um, so she asks if I would care if these family friends play. I'm like, not at all. I don't care. Would love it. I show up the night of the party. It's at a restaurant. I set up, and these two guys walk up. The one guy plays bass. The one guy has a cajon, a box drum, and the bassist and me like lock eyes, and we're like, "Wait a minute, are you such and such, and you such and such?" And we realized we actually knew each other. We had only ever done any work remotely via Zoom. We'd been in some meetings together. I'm a coordinator for Greenville NSAI, or the Greenville chapter of NSAI, which is the Nashville Songwriters Association. And I'd seen this person in our chapter meetings sometimes, but at that point,
Greensboro chapter, right?
Greenville, yeah, yeah. Uh, but yeah, I was like, "Oh, dude, it's you! Like, this is so cool." And so we met in person for the first
Aren't
time.
you glad it went that way instead of, hey, aren't you Trey Duncan? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
You slept with my wife.
yeah. Right. No, I'm
I
fortunate.
don't, I don't like out of all the ways that it could have gone, you're glad that it went the way that it did.
Yeah,
That's
we,
all
we
I'm
don't we
saying.
don't we don't have those stories floating
Thank
around.
God.
Fortunately. That's not my bit. We'll leave that to the other rock and rollers out there.
Excellent.
Anyways, super nice guy. Hey, let me meet you in person. This is cool. The other guy starts playing, and we play, like, they end up playing with me basically the whole time. I thought they were just gonna come up and like jam for a song or two, but we sound check. I'm like, okay, let's just do a blues. We probably played Pride and Joy, and we start playing. I'm like, oh, these guys are
They
legit.
can
Like, they
play.
got, yeah, these aren't just like, boom, chick, but like, this dude is throwing in. I was like, how are you throwing in fills on a cajon? This is crazy. And we finished up. I'm like, dang, these guys are really good. And I sit down after we play our first set, and I start talking to the gentleman playing cajon, and he's got this really thick accent and kind of a gruff, husky voice. And I was like, man, that's awesome. Well, what's your deal? And he said, yeah, his name is Kiki Garcia, which I don't know if that name means anything to you yet, but he was the percussionist
Kiki,
for Gloria
he owes me
Estefan.
$5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But Gloria Estefan in the Miami Sound Machine, right? So he was a principal co-writer with her and was in her band for forever. I was like, oh shoot, this is crazy. He's got like gold records and stuff on his wall, and he's
That's
just buddy.
nuts.
Yeah, who was just really good friends with this guy. And so I show up to this birthday party and was like, I'm literally playing with a legend right now. And then he starts telling his stories. My stories, gigging. It's like, yeah, this one time we're like, I don't know, the power went out in this bar and we had to wait for a minute, right? And his stories are like, yeah, this one time we're playing in Canada, and Gloria accidentally electrocutes herself with the microphone because there's a grounding issue, and like, this is crazy. He's talking about playing
Yeah.
arenas and all this stuff, and
Right.
I'm like,
It's a different level.
I was like, this is super cool. But yeah, super nice guy. Super nice guy. Had a really fun time. But you were talking about a small world moment. Like, this is Greenville, South Carolina, and this is not Miami.
Right.
But here he is. And
Did you say I take it you didn't come here for the Cuban sandwiches, right?
yeah, no, it was. I think it was a Mexican restaurant we were playing at, but no, I don't think it was a. It was not Cuban. Yeah, no, but super cool, dude. But that was fun. That was fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man,
So,
small one.
yeah. So, how long have you been playing since you started at 8, you said, right?
Yeah, somewhere in there, maybe like 8, 9, 10, somewhere in there. So that would be about to be 22 years. I'm about to turn 30. So it's
So,
been a
so
minute.
okay, so you've been playing for about half a dozen years or so professionally. Is that
Yeah,
track?
yeah. So yeah, since 2019.
And like, okay, so to me, you're a guy. You're playing your local scene. You're working it. How often are you gigging at this point?
I'm usually playing Friday and Saturday, and lots of times adding another either a Sunday afternoon or Tuesday or Thursday. It cycles with the seasons. So winter for me tends to be a little bit slower. Summer,
Interesting.
there was a stretch last year where I played. Oh gosh, it was something obscene. Which well, I mean, not obscene for like there are people that literally play, 29 out of 31 days in a month, and I don't know how they still have a voice. But I've got friends that I see it and they do it. But no, I thought it was crazy. I played something like 16 out of 30 days last summer, and I was like, I'm literally playing every other day. This is why, 3 hour shows, most of them,
Right. That's
and
a
like
lot.
yeah. Oh, yeah. It was brutal. So I try to pace myself and not do that. But yeah, I mean, I'm playing, but lots of those are private events. They're restaurants. They're bars. It's not festivals or ticketed shows. Fortunate to toss some of those in there, but most of what I'm doing right now it is the restaurants and such.
Right. Right. It's yeah. I mean, dude, I am no stranger to playing at a sports bar. That's for sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting to see how places have kind of evolved over the years since I started playing back in '93.
Yeah.
And here a lot of places have come and gone, and I'm sure that's been the same for you.
Yeah.
Probably not as many places as out here. Like
Yeah.
we have one dedicated blues bar left in
Yeah.
Phoenix. When I
Yeah.
started, there was like
Mhm.
5 or 7 or whatever. Like
Yeah.
you could do, like there was a circuit to do. You could hit like 3 or 4 of them at open mics. So you'd be out playing, trying to break into the scene at least for half the week.
Yeah.
Now you can't do it. This is how many times you can do it in the week. 0.
Yeah.
You can't play. You can't go play a blues open mic club or a rock club here. It doesn't happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, like you said, I've not experienced it to that scale, but I started gigging right before COVID, really, 2019. And with my band King's Ransom, we were getting to play and open for some really cool people. We opened for Michelangelo Badio one time. Um, if you're familiar with Neil Zaza, we played the last show Neil played before COVID shut everything down, like March 12th or March 11th, at a really cool venue in Greenville called the Radio Room. We opened for him, and then he shut everything down. And that was part of the reason that our band didn't survive. We navigated COVID, but definitely we had some momentum and we hit the brakes. Some other
Got
things
it.
factored in, but yeah, there are venues that we really liked up to that point that didn't make it. There are venues that a couple years later we really liked, didn't make it, and also South Carolina's had uh, crazy issues with the insurance laws for places that have a liquor license. The last couple years, it's really been uh, it's been extremely detrimental for our music venues because they have jacked up insurance rates and places
Yeah.
have not. But that so for example, that little pub that I played in 2019, um, you know, they might have had
Hang on
um,
1 second.
sure thing.
Sorry. Go on. I'm listening. I just have
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
close
You
my
know, but
door.
but they might have had a monthly or yearly premium of I don't know, he said like $5,000. Then the next year it was like $20,000.
That's ridiculous.
And then the next year, so part of the reason he closed down, it was going to be like $100,000. Like we're talking that significant of price
Of a,
hikes. Yeah, and so you couldn't
you
get
can't
insurance.
afford to do it.
Yeah, so we've had a handful of places in not just Greenville, but the whole state that have shut down as a direct result of that issue.
Wow.
Um, oh yeah, we that's been an issue for 2 or 3 years. They've been duking it out in the state legislature, and here we are. Um, but yeah, definitely lost some cool spots we liked.
Sorry to hear that. I don't, it just it just really sucks when places that you were depending upon to go play and make some money, be seen, be heard, and they're gone now. So you're like, okay, well, I got to rethink my game plan in terms of where can I play? Where can I go now? Am I looking at, you know, doing what you do, which would be alone and acoustic?
Yeah,
Um, that for me is actually appealing on some level.
yeah,
I would very much like to do away with all the electricity and get a Martin HD 28 and just
yeah,
do my thing that way.
yeah,
Like I'm a kid back at overnight camp when I was 13 and 14 years old, sitting at the campfire and singing and playing.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
it's logistically, it's easier to book lots of times, and obviously you're not splitting pay at the end of the night. That's kind
you
of the
just
convenient
okay.
part.
You just said the two magic things right there.
Yeah, but you get burnt out on it sometimes, and it's really fun. Like I was thinking about this before we hopped on our call. How I am predominantly playing acoustic most of the time, just because I think it's easier to get a warm, listener-friendly sound. Solo voice, solo acoustic. I know there are
Yeah,
people that are really good at doing solo electric and voice. Um, I don't have a rig where I've found a compelling way to do that, where I feel like I can cover all the music I want to cover in a solo show. Um, but there is also no substitute for I'll do a bunch of those, and then I'll get like my one band gig every 2 months I get to play, and I just go and I've got my tube amp, and I just get to crank it for a minute, and I feel it behind me. I'm like, oh man, I feel like a rock star right
I
now.
know. I know. It feels
Yeah,
so good.
yeah. You do get to you feel a little more alive on those nights. And it's just fun to play with other musicians too. Uh, you miss that playing by yourself all the time, getting to just collaborate. Music is better when we make it together. I know that sounds cheesy, but it is. Back to earlier in the show, how it's one of those things that unifies us during a time where we're not so unified, and you know we can just kind of block everything else out and just lock into each other. Like we're just gonna enjoy this moment together, and that's gonna be enough. And you get to do that through creating the music with friends, but also sharing that music with strangers, and that's a powerful thing.
Excellent. So are you still on TikTok?
Yeah, I
Because
need to post.
that's
I
where
need
we
to.
met originally, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I need to post there a little more frequently, but I need to post on all my social media a little more frequently, if we're being honest. But yeah, I'm in all the spots if you want to find me. Um, TikTok, Insta is another one where that's the one where I look the coolest because I got the most followers there.
I
But
was gonna say, dude, I mean, your Instagram is very impressive. You have over 9,000 followers on
dude,
Insta. That's a very cool thing, man.
here's the crazy thing about that is that it took me 5 years to get over 2,000. Really, like,
Wow.
and I felt like I was still posting the same kind of thing, maybe not as frequently as I should have. I wasn't playing the social media game very well, but I was sharing my little covers or original clips or me playing at shows, whatever. Um, and then I got working with a social media assistant who really what she would do is either give me some prompts like, go in your office and talk about your favorite venue you've played or talk about your favorite song to play, those kinds of things. But the handy thing is I would give her the raw footage and she would edit it and post it for me. And that was just such a weight off my shoulders of I don't have to like produce this content. I can give her the stuff and she can actually make it, palatable for each individual platforms and post it for
Sure.
me. And then I just hop on and, respond to comments and stuff. But one of those videos I gave her sort of like went a little viral, at least for me, kind of viral. It popped off. And it was just one of those really cool moments where I happened to have the camera rolling and I captured this really neat candid moment. I think it's the pinned video on my Instagram. But it also did really well on TikTok, not as well on Insta. But on Insta, it got like 500,000 views.
Jesus.
And I know, I
Holy
know.
moly.
I know. I mean, it got like 20,000 on TikTok or something, but
Wow.
on Instagram, like she posted that video for me, and then I went from like 2,500 followers to 9,000 in the span of like 2 weeks. And
That's
so,
fantastic.
really, if I'd have been on it, then I'd be over 10K by now, but I haven't. I
Congratulations.
gotta get
That's
back to it.
amazing.
But thank you. But then I was like, and here's the crazy thing. Now somebody hops on and they're like, oh, of course I'm gonna like this guy. He's got 9,000 followers. And I'm like, if you'd have seen me 3 weeks ago, you'd been like, this guy's only got 2,000 followers. I don't know if I want to spend my precious 60 seconds. But they are precious. Everybody's fighting for your time. So I get it. And I'm not salty about social media. I understand there are ways to really maximize your time on there and try to reach the most people. And I have not made the time to do that and post 5 times a day. I have no doubt if I would do that, that I would grow those followings,
Yeah, but
Um,
but here's the thing. You're spending so much of your time trying to get gigs, maintain gigs,
yeah, and writing is the big
writing,
thing. Yeah.
writing, working on songs, whatever. Like, dude, you're doing the thing that I wish I could be doing, but I'm hampered by my hands and can only, I can't go out and play a 3 hour show. I
Yeah,
could do,
yeah,
I could probably do 2 1 hour sets and be
yeah,
okay with it and
yeah.
then call it a night. But anything beyond that, I can't do it. So
It's
that's why
brutal.
I'm here doing
Yeah,
this instead.
yeah,
But I'm still working on new music. I would love to go
yeah,
record a new record. It's just a
yeah.
question of having this to
I
do
want to
it.
hear. I want to hear it, man. Do it. I want to hear that record.
Well, you know what? If somebody said, I just want to take you and put you out on tour with a couple guys behind you, I'd be like, fine, let's do that. But realize
Yeah,
that I can only play for so long each night,
yeah,
and I will do that, and I'll do that to the best of my ability. So
right.
let's do that, and then maybe down the road, get into studio and record a new record.
Yeah, yep,
But I'd love to go back and play live. Absolutely. I would do it tomorrow.
yeah. Well, man, if and when I'm in your neck of the woods, I'm pulling you up on stage. You're gonna play at least one tune with me.
I'll play more than one song with you.
Yeah, yeah. There you go. Good, good. That's
But
the right
vice
answer.
versa, maybe I'll come out your way faster. I don't know.
That'll work
Yeah.
too. That'd be good.
So, so one thing I like to ask my guests, because I'm trying to have people on here that have gigged or still gigging or whatever. What
Yeah.
is Two-part question? What is
Okay.
the worst gig you played, and what is the best gig you played?
Oh man. I immediately have an answer for the worst gig I've played.
I bet you do. We all do.
And there's surely been a couple that maybe haven't gone according to plan. I know, yeah, off the top of my head, there's two, and I'll have to think about the best gig, because they can be great for different reasons. I'll tell you. So for the worst gigs, there was one time I was playing a band show that just we it was not with King's Ransom. It was post King's Ransom. So just I was hired to play, like Trey Duncan band. Just I'm the artist, but I got people backing me up, and they're friends of
Right.
mine hired, and they're really really good musicians. But wow, we were having to run our own sound, and I hate having to run your own sound and play at the same time. And we just for whatever reason, could not get it together. And then like we're kind of rattled because we're rushed. Sound system isn't working right. It just wasn't sounding good. And by the end of the night, it sounded fine. I was just really disappointed because I really wanted that show to be great. The second one was probably the worst gig I've ever played. And again, I guess wasn't that bad because they hired us to play the next year too. But I left that gig mortified.
Wow.
So last year I played at a Christmas tree farm uh, for the holiday seasons, and you know, Christmas songs is just one of those things that I should just sit down and just memorize a bunch of songs. Uh, but it only comes around once a year, and then you try to pick some out, and then hopefully it's fine. But also, lots of Christmas standards are very sophisticated songs. They're either hymns, which you're not, it's not a 1-4-5, or
Right.
they're like jazz standards, and you've got all these sophisticated voicings and things, and you know you can sort of dumb them down, but it's just not as satisfying not to try to play the real thing. So I'm trying to read charts, and uh, anyways, I invited a good friend of mine who is an amazing musician, Melissa Dupuy, to play with me, and she was a session player in Nashville for ages, and just she's in my neck of the woods now. And I said, hey, I got this Christmas tree farm gig. Will you play with me? It's just 2 hours. We're just gonna play as for this family event, and people are just going to be walking by drinking their hot cocoa buying Christmas trees. Yeah, it'd be great. um
Oh,
and the moral of the story was I just tried to do too much at once and was not prepared, and totally fell flat on my face for the first hour. Like I was just mortified at how it sounded.
I
But it's because I had been playing professionally for several years up to that point, and it sounded like I was an amateur. And it wasn't that it was objectively atrocious. It was like, okay, it was not my standard.
right.
And I was mortified. And my wife happened to be at that gig, and I uh, anyways, she afterwards she was like, so that was terrible, right? I was like, okay, that's great. When the missus is also really not into it, I really fell flat on my face. So anyways, circle back around. There's a happy ending to this year. They reach out and they say, hey, do you want to play again? We loved you last year. I'm thinking like, oh Lord. And I asked my wife, and she's like, I think you should take it if you play better than you did last year. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna go redeem myself. But
There you go.
I asked my friend to play with me again. She's like, yeah, we'll do it. And we actually had a really great time. We sounded great this year. But um,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I was like, oh, it's a duo. Maybe I'll try playing bass and she can play guitar. So that was a red flag. I always gig on guitar. It was not like I practiced this. I did not need to throw an extra wrinkle in there. And then we have all our charts downloaded. I lose Wi-Fi. So now I'm trying to like look up stuff in the middle of the song. I
Oh
don't have
boy.
my words. I'm reading wrong lyrics. I'm playing the wrong thing. It just was a complete disaster. Um, I have played more scandalous gigs, maybe not because of not on my account, but like crazy things happening during the gig with the band. But
On
I was just
OnlyFans? Are you
no,
on OnlyFans?
only bands. No, no. But I was just mortified after that, and I was like, I have to do better. I can't do that to myself again. That was just embarrassing. Best gig I ever played. Um, Man, I mean, there's been lots of gigs where I've been really proud of myself or proud of the people that have played with me. Um, well, I'll tell you, maybe the coolest gig, and there's probably some evidence of it on YouTube somewhere. But probably the best show that King's Ransom ever played was a lot of fun. I won't say it's my best gig ever, but just one of the shows that really comes to
Stuck out
mind.
to you? Yeah.
Yeah, and it was again at Radio Room, which is a really great venue in Greenville. They've moved to a larger location now, but some good friends of ours in a band called 7 Year Witch were the headliners, and just between us and then we had another band, Velvet Willow, that played with us. But the King's Ransom, Velvet Willow, and 7 Year Witch, we sold out the Radio Room. It was just an awesome show, great energy all the way through. Um, this was April 2021, I guess, and just one of those felt like we could do no wrong. Everybody sounded awesome. Everybody's locked in when they were soloing. The crowd was into it. It was a great night. Just that was a really special gig. um And yeah, I don't know. I'll throw you a curveball. This is not a traditional gig like one of these kinds of deals, but as far as a concert, I would say. So I'm the music director at my church, and we just had our yearly lessons and carols service, which I'm not sure if you're familiar, but basically it's an all music service instead of there being a sermon.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but I start working on it with my choir back in October. So my church, we're a little more traditional. We do the praise band thing sometimes, but mostly it's I'm a choir director. Um, but I programmed this concert, and I hired more musicians than I'd ever worked with before. We had a string quartet, we had trumpet, we had a 20 voice choir, we had a jazz combo that I got to work with for the first time, um, and our handbell ensemble, and then our program was over an hour, but lots of diversified pieces in different styles. We had percussion, we had Celtic instruments. It was just the works. But
Wow.
we did that this Sunday, and it was the most I've it was the hardest I've ever worked on that sort of concert, but they nailed it too. And really that's a testament to how hard all the people worked in my church to rehearse that material and, you know, just just perform. And I was really proud of them. So
Sounds like it was a big undertaking.
yeah, but it came together really, and I was really proud of how everybody performed.
That's
Those
awesome.
kinds of things they're a lot, but they're fun too because when I'm out there playing this thing, I'm not getting to write parts for viola and trumpet, and that's kind of fun to stretch that muscle sometimes too, and work on that, and a couple of the trumpet descants I had to write because I couldn't find any online I liked, so. Uh, those kinds of things are really cool and rewarding too. But uh, I'm sure there's a bunch. I've played lots of really cool shows. I'm really proud to have been a part of. But some cool people I've got to open for. But off the top of my head, those are kind of contrasting ends of the spectrum of some musical endeavors I've been able to undertake, and was tickled with how they turned out. Anyways.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's really cool. Well, hey man, tell everybody where they can find you.
Yeah. So I'm Trey Duncan. You can find me right here on YouTube. I think Trey Duncan Sings is the name of my channel.
It is.
Most
I put you up there.
you go. Most of my stuff is at Trey Duncan Sings. My website's treyduncansings.com. But Insta, TikTok, all that stuff at Trey Duncan Sings, and you should be able to find me and see what I'm up to. You really want to stay in the loop, you can head over to treyduncansings.com, put your email into my little newsletter button on there, and at the beginning of the month, I shoot out a message and say, here's where I'm playing, here's where I'm dropping new music, all that kind of cool stuff. If I've got new merch, which we have new merch we just ordered, we're excited about. So,
Oh, that's cool.
um, yeah. The bottle openers that have my logo on them. They're in the shape of a guitar. It's pretty fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is that stuff going to be going up on Instagram or where should
Yeah, I
I?
do need. I haven't shared it yet. I do need to share it.
Okay,
I usually just kind of get that and my koozies. I usually just give out at shows if you see me. But
gotcha.
yeah, I do need to post and say, hey, if you want one, let me know and I'll mail you one. But they're uh, they're those are pretty fun. So and then
That's that's
t-shirts and things. But
that's cool. That's very cool.
yeah,
Well,
man.
thank you for coming on the show. I
Oh, it was a
actually had more
blast.
questions to ask you, but we've already been going for like almost 74 minutes
I,
here.
I
So
know. We'll
no,
have to do part
it's all
two.
good. You know what, dude?
Yeah.
I'll have your back. I'll
Yeah,
have
I'd
your
love to.
back.
That would be great.
Okay, well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. I hope everybody else appreciated it.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for having
You-
me. And hey to everybody in the chat, thanks for sticking around.
Thank you, Trey. I appreciate you, brother. I'll talk
For
to you
sure.
soon, man.
Thanks. It sounds good.
All right, be
Take it
cool.
easy.
All
Yeah.
right,
Thanks.
thanks, brother. Bye bye.
See ya.
All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the stream. That was my friend Trey Duncan. Hey, Badass British Guitar. Good to see you. Hey, Dan. Thank you, Simone. How you guys doing? Anyways, I hope you found that enlightening and educational. I'm gonna come back in about looks like an hour and 45 minutes to do my usual evening stream of Soul Cactus rock and roll. So please come back, be there, be square. And we'll catch you soon. All right. Love you guys. Thank you for all being in my dream. Hey, Bert, I'll talk to you soon. Simone, thank you. Dan, we'll talk to you. Everybody else, thank you. DB, be cool. Bye bye.